Hello, welcome to Your Academy. At Your Academy, today in this lecture, we will deal with life and times of Sylvia Plath. Now, before I take up Sylvia Plath, how many of you or how many of us do know about a famous female poet from the 20th century named as Gabriela Mistral? Not many. Gabriela Mistral is a 1945 Nobel Prize winner writer, female writer from Chile, who during her lifetime had attained great fame. But the fact of the matter is that not many people know about her. But the truth is that Sylvia Plath, with whom we would be dealing today, is the most famous female writer from 20th century, beating almost all other writers in fame and in international acclaim. But Sylvia Plath was not a famous poet during her lifetime. It is strange when Gabriela Mistral would be getting Nobel Prize in 1945. At that time, Sylvia Plath was a minor writer. But post her death, her fame, rose to the heights. She became so famous that today hardly is there a university, hardly is there a college where the poems of Sylvia Plath are not taught. The Sylvia Plath's career as a writer is very much similar to that of John Keats. Her professional writing career is hardly of 6-7 years. For John Keats, it was hardly of 2-3 years. But in those 6-7 years, Sylvia Plath wrote so much of poetry or wrote so many things during those times that she became very famous after her immature death in 1963. A lot of credit goes to Ted Hughes regarding various aspects of Plath's life. For example, some of the critics would be that the suicide that Sylvia Plath committed was because of Ted Hughes. But the fact remains that the famousness that Sylvia Plath has today is also credited to Ted Hughes, because it was Ted Hughes who, after her death, would publish the poems of Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath became so famous that Hollywood created a movie, a film on the life of Sylvia Plath. Now, besides this, the writings of Sylvia Plath, which are full of aggression, which are full of dark imagery, which are full of death, which are full of blood, became very famous after her death, both amongst men critics and amongst female critics. But it was the female readers, the female critics, who found a different kind of thing in Sylvia Plath's life other than her, confessional and autobiographical elements. And some people said that Sylvia Plath is every woman. She is the representative of all those women who have such sufferings in their real life, who suffer so much so that they perhaps also desire to commit suicide every now and then. And she is the perfect representative of a tortured, of an oppressed female of our society. Sylvia Plath was born in 1932. She published her first poem at a very young age, when she was hardly 7 or 8 years of age. She continued to write, but initially, her writings were not very much famous. She also wrote a journal in her lifetime wherein she would, keep on noting many things regarding her life. Sylvia Plath was a very bright student. In 1950s, when she went to the Smith College, there she received as many as 3 scholarships. And we know from the letters that Sylvia Plath wrote to her mother that these were the best years of Sylvia Plath. And in one of her letters, she wrote to her mother, "I could just cry with happiness. The world is splitting open at my feet like a ripe, juicy watermelon." Now, the her entry in the Smith College, and then the scholarships that she gave, and but the progression that she made, she was happy with all the things that were happening around her. But also, during the same time, we also get impressions that Sylvia Plath went into severe depression, particularly in 1952-53, when she was rejected one of the scholarships to Frank O'Connor Summer School, wherein it was about the writing skills owned by the Howard. And when Sylvia Plath didn't get this scholarship, she went into a severe depression. It was only in 1954 that she would come back to Smith and College, and there she completed her graduation. And it is said that there were only 4 people at that time who completed the graduation. It was later that Sylvia Plath would go to the Cambridge. She would get a scholarship in Cambridge, and for further studies she went to Cambridge. It was in Cambridge that she met Ted Hughes, who at that time was not very famous poet, but was an emerging poet. And eventually Sylvia Plath ended up marrying Ted Hughes, and she wrote in one of her letters that Ted Hughes is the only man in this world who makes the best match for me. But Sylvia Plath, since the depression was with her life throughout, when she failed to get that scholarship in 1953, she called her mother and told her that I am going on a long walk and would only return back the next day. What she did, she took too many sleeping pills and went into the basement, where she lied unconscious for almost 3 days, only to be found in a semi-conscious state. Later she was taken to the hospital and brought back to life. She would talk about all these incidents of committing suicide more than once in her writings also. Her life was pretty settled in the initial stages of her marriage with the Ted Hughes. She gave birth to a daughter in 1960. She gave birth to a son in 1962. And she was into the writing. Prior to the birth of her son, she started writing the Colossus. She got contract for publishing poems in the Colossus, both from USA and also from England. She also began working on The Bell Jar, which is a novel by Sylvia Plath, and it contains a lot of autobiographical informations about her in this particular novel. So she was into the writing, and but suddenly what happened, she discovered that Ted Hughes was having a relationship or affair with a wife of his friend named as Asia Wivel. And that led to the more frustration in Sylvia Plath's life, and eventually it ended up with divorce from Ted Hughes. And after being divorced from Ted Hughes, she rented separately, and started writing lots of poems. And she wrote in one of her letters to her mother that I am writing the best poems of my life, and these poems are going to make my name. It was very difficult for Sylvia Plath to catch up with the problems and troubles that she faced, and eventually after 4 months of divorce from Ted Hughes, she committed suicide in 1963. It was only after her death that Ted Hughes took control of her writings, and most of her important and famous works would be published after the death of Sylvia Plath. The Bell Jar was published during her lifetime in 1963 under the pseudonym Victoria Lukash, and after her death, Ted Hughes published a number of collections of her poetry and other works of Sylvia Plath. For example, Ariel was published in 1965 by Ted Hughes. Crossing the Water was published in 1971. A Poem for Children, The Bad Book, was published in 1976. So that was about Sylvia Plath. Now, what is the most important aspect of Sylvia Plath's life and writing was depression, was harsh experiences, was difficult times right from her childhood, it seems, till her death in 1963, hardly at the age of 31. She was most of the times in a state of depression. And when we go through her poetry is a confession of that depression, is a confession of that anxiety, of a bad shape or state of her mind, and she considered Ted Hughes to a greater extent responsible for the troubles in her life, particularly after her marriage, because it seemed that after her first instance of depression in 1952-53, she had recollected herself, regained control over herself, and was a very happy going kid when she was in Harvard Newham College. But and when she met for the first time with Ted Hughes, first initial years with Ted Hughes were happy, but the revelation of the relationship of Ted Hughes with Assia Vivid ended up the life of Sylvia Plath in a great mess, and she could not cope up with all the things that she had, the betrayal of Ted Hughes, the burden of the kids, and the financial problems, and eventually she committed suicide. And in her poems she would discuss about her suicide to a great extent. But it was after her death that Sylvia Plath became very famous, particularly when females started reading her poems beyond the autobiographical poems, beyond the confessional poems, when they started looking at Sylvia Plath as the one who represents almost all the females of the world, because most of the females go through similar kind of torture and sufferings and depressions in their lives, and hundreds and thousands of them end up committing suicide. But here was one who, before committing suicide, expressed her heart and mind through her poetry. That was about Sylvia Plath, and that is all we have at Your Academy for today. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe at Your Academy. You can visit homepage of Your Academy for lot more stuff on English literature. We have also a lecture on Daddy, a poem by Sylvia Plath. You can watch that poem at Your Academy. Thank you for watching, and keep watching Your Academy.